To get started on this project, you should have downloaded the welcome package information. Now, the gist of this project is that you're going to be creating a welcome package for this fitness center. All of their newest customers need to receive a t-shirt and an at-home workout routine. Take what you've learned from this unit and apply it to the design of both of these different two separate designs. To get started, let's start off with the t-shirt design. Open up the t-shirt logo or the t-shirt folder and then double-click on the t-shirt template Illustrator file. Notice in this file that you've got 3 separate shirts, and you've also got some graphics and a couple of different text lines. Now here's how we're going to design this shirt. You cannot change the color of the shirt. They have to stay exactly the same. Notice in the layers panel, you've got a layer just for the t-shirts themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lock down the shirt, and all of the designs I'm going to do is going to be on the graphics layer. For the graphics layer, one of the shirts needs to be for the runner, one of the shirts needs to include weightlifting and use this graphic, and the other shirt must use just text. And you can use any one of these text designs in any of the t-shirts. So you can mix and match whatever you want as long as one of them uses this graphic, another uses this graphic, and another uses just the text by itself. Now there's a lot of different ways that we could start off by designing each of the shirts. What I want to do is to give you some pointers and some starting points that you can use within any of these designs. Now when designing these shirts, you can use whatever color you want and whatever font you want. You can even use some custom design patterns within the designs themselves. Let's have a look at how we can use some of these graphics. I'm going to take my runner graphic and I'm going to apply him. Let's do him on the yellow shirt. I'll zoom in, group them together, and scale him down. As far as colors go, remember you can use any colors that you want. If necessary, you can open up the color swatches, and you can even open up the color libraries to find other colors that tend to match and harmonize. Even within these, let's see, I'm going to choose beach just to see what these look like. But even within these, once you choose a color, remember you also have your color guide that gives you some other different color variations you could pick and choose just between those colors. So the possibilities are endless. One thing that I like to also look at are some different ways you can apply different patterns. For example, if I don't want this to be just a solid color, any one of these would look good. Actually, that's not too bad by itself with the orange and the bright yellow behind him. But if I open up my swatches libraries, I can use some of the different patterns. And I'm going to use, in my case, some of these basic graphic patterns, either dots, lines, or textures. By opening these up, I can select them and make sure you got your graphics selected. I can apply these patterns and overlay to my design as well. Now, if you are going to use a pattern like this, let's say I chose this one. If I wanted to scale my pattern, make it larger or smaller, remember you can do this using your scale tool. Go over to your tools panel and locate the scale tool. Double clicking on it will open up the scale tools options and make sure preview is turned on. We only want to transform the pattern itself, so make sure to uncheck everything else and have only the transform pattern selected. Now, if I want to make this pattern smaller, I can scale it down uniformly. I'm using my arrow keys. You can also hold down the shift and arrow, and you can scale it down this way. So that's a great simple way of scaling it to the size that you want it to be. We'll say OK to that. This especially looks good if you use some of your dot patterns. So if I did something like this and I wanted it to be smaller, simply double click on the scale tool. Make sure preview and transform pattern is turned on, and then you can scale it up larger or smaller until you see the size that you want and say OK. If you wanted to change the color of this pattern, remember whenever you select one of these graphic patterns, it'll automatically add itself into your swatches panel. You can double click on the swatch. This will go into your swatch editor. This will allow you to select whatever objects you have and to change their colors. In my case, let's see if I can bring back up the color swatches that I liked for the beach. Here they are here. If I wanted these to be that red, now I can change it to that red color or whatever other color I like. Let's try this one. I'll save a copy of this one by going up to the very top and choose Save a Copy. I won't give it a specific name, but I'll simply say OK, and now I've got it saved in my swatches panel. Let's see what a bright orange would also look like. Save that as a copy and say OK. Now that I'm finished, I can hit Done, and you can see how this has been applied to my design as well. And here's the other color. Once again, maybe I want to see this a little bit smaller, so I'm going to take it and scale it down. 20% looks good. And there I have my design nice and placed inside of here. If you wanted to customize the lines, you can choose them. Once again, double click on the actual swatch itself. In this case, the lines are made up of stroke colors, so make sure the stroke is on top. Now when you go to select your color, we'll say this time, let's do it as a pink. And we'll do Save a Copy to there. We could say Done or Cancel for now. We can now use that color inside of our fill color for that one. I like the look of that. One more time, I'm going to scale this down by double clicking the scale tool. Change up just the transform the pattern, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Finally, I want to make a copy of this by holding down my Option key and clicking and dragging to the left. And I want to change the color of it by choosing a line pattern. Whoops. There we go. That's going to be slightly smaller. We'll send it to the back. Once again, I'll make a copy of this one, holding down my Option key and dragging, and then choosing a different line that's a little bit thinner. So now it looks like it's getting that running type of effect. Let me zoom back in so we can see it. Now, in terms of the text, there's a lot you can do with the text. Remember, you can choose any one of these on the side that you can use. I'm going to use Keep Pushing for this one. I'm going to drag it over. Now, the font that I chose for this is just the basic default font that usually comes up. We want to choose something that's a little bit more energetic. A great website to go to is fonts.adobe.com. You can use the fonts that are on your computer, or you can do some browsing and researching some of the different styles that could be applied to your design. Let's see if we can find something that's a little bit more energetic. I'm going to choose Browse All. And then over on the left-hand side, I can try to customize it by looking at the different tags. Maybe I want something that's a little bit more fun or rough or a little bit more energetic. Let's view all 13 of them. Some of these will work out a little bit better than others. Things like collegiate will actually give you a nice little look that looks like it's on a collegiate running team. I kind of like the look of this one, so I'm going to use Bassett. I want to add the family to my design. Remember, clicking Add Family on the website means you have to open up the Creative Cloud app. We'll then go to here, and I'm going to open up the Creative Cloud app from here. Click on the fonts. Give it a second to load. There it is here. And now I've got Bassett where I can install the entire family. Give it a second to install the font, and once it's ready, we can start to use it. Now that it's installed, I can jump back into Adobe Illustrator and select my text, go up to the character panel and start typing in Bassett. And now I've got all these different versions that I can use within my design. Some of these look like they have a good drop shadow, and I kind of like the look of that. So something as simple as that, and let's add on some color to it that matches it, is all that I'm looking for this type of design. Let's see if we could do some other things using the other type of graphic. I'm going to use this weightlifting graphic. Select it. Let's bring it over to, in this case, let's do it on the gray shirt. I'm going to scale it down. Now, when working with these kinds of designs, remember you could also use the color of the shirt to your advantage. For example, if you don't want to have white as part of this design, you could simply select all of the white in this area. In this case, it's already grouped, and I can delete it away. And now I'm left with just the black outline with the white underneath it. To add some text on top of this, let's go find something that's a better one. Let's do make muscle, not excuses. We'll pull this one over here. And in this case, I want to put make muscle and no excuses on their own separate lines. So I'm going to cut this one away, grab my type tool, and place it up here. Get rid of that extra return. And once again, let's see if I can find a fun font that makes this seem like it's actually lifting weights. Going back here, perhaps I'll choose something that's a little bit more rough. This one looks really fun. Or even some of these day and night ones. I kind of like this one, CC Chills. I'll add CC Chills to my design. Once again, you may have to open the app to do this. Go to your added fonts in your fonts library. It may take just a second for it to show up. There it is there. And now we can install the font family. Once it's installed, jump back into here, select the text, and then type it in to start using it. Make muscle. I like this one, so we'll go with that. In my case, maybe I'll also click on the character panel. Let's make it all caps so that everything is the same height. We'll do the same for no excuses. So CC Chills. Maybe for this one, I'll use the drop shadow, and I'll also make it all caps too. And for my case, I'm going to expand it out just a little bit more so that it fits the same width across. Right now, I'm still not even worried about the color of everything, just the placement of everything. I'll even make it all black so it all shows up nicely, and that's looking really good. Let's see if we can have some fun with warping this text. With the text selected, I go up to Object, down to Envelope Distort, and I can make with warp. Remember, this will open up your warp options and it'll start to curve your text however you want. Now, depending on the style, this will give you a couple of different options. I kind of like this one where it arcs the upper, or I can play around with shell, waving it. Whatever it takes to fit inside of your design. I'm going to keep it simple and do arc upper, maybe not so much. That looks good. Let's do the same for down here. I'm going to bring the excuses. Let's deselect it first. Bring it up a little bit, maybe make it a little bit larger. Once again, with the text selected, go to Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Warp. And for this lower one, maybe I'll do the arc lower to match it out. We'll say okay to that. Now it's looking really, really good. Simple, clean, and I can change up the size of it to match up the needs of my design. However, once I go to add some color to this, I need to be aware of how to manipulate the colors. Right now, this is just a simple black design, so it's easy enough to change up the color of it. Let's see what would look good on this dark gray that we have. I like the red. If I wanted to make red or another color up here, I can't simply select it and change the color from this. I need to go to Object, back down to Envelope Distort, and I need to edit the contents of it. With Edit Contents, this will allow me to change the color of what's inside of it. In this case, this is what I like. Let's do the same for no excuses. Object, Envelope Distort, Edit Contents. Now I can change its color. Maybe I'll have this color be something a little bit different. I'll make it a darker color. Let's do dark blue for that one. That looks good. And we'll do a dark blue drop shadow for what's up here. So in this case, I'm going to make a copy of it, edit and copy. I'm going to do edit and paste in back. I'm going to change its color to be a dark blue. And all I want to do is use my arrow tools to nudge it slightly down and over. Notice that it didn't really work for this one. Let's go back to Object. In this case, I'm going to edit the envelope. Now that I've got the envelope edited, I can go down and over, and it gives it a little bit of a drop shadow. That's looking really good for that one. And that's all that I need to do to design a nice, simple t-shirt for that design. Maybe the last thing I'll do is to move everything over and group it together so that it fits nicely in the center of our shirt. Now for our last shirt design, it'll be our black shirt for this one. It needs to be just text. So I could choose any one of these, trade hard or go home. I will use this one. Let's see if we could get it to fill up. Just because it's only text doesn't mean it has to be simple. We can make this as complex and as graphical as possible. You can even add some other little lines as long as the main thing on here is just the text to design. In my case, maybe I wanted to say trade hard and then or go home. So I'm going to, once again, break up my text by selecting each individual part, grab your type tool, and then paste it out on its own individual layer. Cut it and paste it. Or will be on its own line, and then go home will be on their own lines as well too. Go and home. Now I want to rough in where I want everything to be, trade hard or go home. And let's jump back over to Adobe and see if we can find a fun font that'll work well with this one as well too. Going down, this is a great one to work with, Vernier. I've already got this one on my computer, so this is going to work out really, really good. Go back over here. I'm going to highlight all of my text. Type in Vernier. There it is, Vernier. And in my case, I'm also going to make all of these all caps as well too. This one comes in a variety of different kind of scratchiness, and I like that. In my case, I'm going to make this one nice and big, and I'm going to have every letter on here be exactly the same width. So I'm taking them and stretching it out, trade hard, or then we'll make go and home nice and big too. And maybe for this one, I'll stretch it out and not make it be italicized. Go and home. That looks good. Now for these, I could either add some solid colors, but let's see if we can play around with some gradations of colors. Once again, you can use some of the basic gradations that are found in your libraries by clicking on the library, open up gradients. You can see there's lots of different ones that are on here. Some of the best ones that I like to play around with are either the water or some of the gems and jewels, metals, even naturals and pastels look really good. I think for mine, I want something that's got some good bright color, so I'm going to choose brights. Let's choose each one of these. I'm going to have it almost have a rainbow or a gradation effect from top to bottom. Start off. Now, if you add a simple gradient on top of text, you can see how it doesn't necessarily work. If you want to add a gradient to text, you need to open up your Appearance panel, and you need to add another fill color or a new fill layer on top of it. In this case, this new fill can now be added a gradient on top of there. That's how you can see that works. Also, I want it to go from top to bottom, so I'm going to choose my gradient tool, then click and drag to go the direction that I want. That looks really good. Let's do the same for hard. Choose hard. Again, if you want to add a gradient on top of this, open your Appearance panel, add a new fill color, and then choose the gradient that you want. Then choose your gradient tool and dial it in exactly the way you want it to look. Finally, for this, let's see if I can do some simple transformation. With it selected, I'll do an envelope distort with warp. In my case, I'm going to, let's do a simple arch. So there's trade. Maybe I'll stretch it out just a little bit. That looks good. Let's get hard to match underneath there. So object, envelope distort one more time. I could do an arch. I could also let's do a shell upper and see what that looks good. Now, this looks kind of cool in itself. So trade hard. And then maybe for this one, I'll nudge it with my arrow keys on my keyboard till it gets exactly where I want it to be. And then we'll stretch it out and keep it kind of the same. Let's do the same for go. Want or to be in yellow. So once again, I'll add a new fill on top of it. Let's give it a yellowish color. Let's go from top to bottom. That looks good. Let's go home, be another one. Add a new fill color. Make it a lime green. And then we'll do home as kind of a bright blue. New fill color, bright blue. Just like I've warped both of these up here, let's see if I can warp both of these. In this case, we'll do go. Maybe for this one, we'll arch the lower. We could flag it. Such a short word, so there's not a lot that we can do to make it look good. So let's do we'll do a shell lower just to make it simple. Do go. And then we'll make home kind of bend underneath that object, envelope distort. And I want to do an arch. We're going to arch it negative so that it bends the other way. And I'm simply going to stretch it out until it fits nicely underneath the word go. And there we have it. Now I've got 3 different designs. Each of them uses some different techniques. Now yours can be as complex or as simple as possible. All I've done is I've added either patterns or I've done a simple text with a distortion, or I've done some that have gradients on top of them, and you can play around with transparencies or whatever you want for your designs. When you're finished with these t-shirt templates, all you have to do is to save up the Illustrator file. So go to File and Save, and that's one of the things you're going to upload for this class project.